Hello folks and welcome to the Vertigo Tea Party, and let's try Darkout. It is by Allgraph. It's a sci-fi sandbox with survival and RPG elements. Think Minecraft, Terraria, or Starbound. Right now it's single player only. They are working on multiplayer and they said it's going to be the focus of their work beginning of next year. It's available for $14.99 on Windows. You can pick it up on Desura or you can get it on Steam, and yes, it does support Steam achievements. So before we hop in, just real quick, you can make your own character. And I'm not going to make one, I'm going to load up my own. You can name your character. You can change their outfit slightly, just different color schemes. You can male or female. Beyond that, not a lot of customization there, but it really won't matter. Because once you get in the game, you're going to end up with armor that's going to cover up your head a lot of times anyway. You can also change difficulty. Right now they have normal and builder. Builder is mostly you just want to go into creative mode. So let's go ahead and go back, and we're going to load a save game. I'm going to try to hop into this pretty quick because we have a lot to cover. I feel like I'm going to only scratch the surface of this game, so this is going to be one of those things where if you like what you see, there's probably more to it than even I'm just showing you here. Alright, so first of all, I'm noticing a little bit of frame rate issues. I think that's due to my recording. I'm not having that problem when I'm not recording, so keep that in mind. It's going a little slow for some reason. But yeah, again, I haven't had a lot of frame rate. It's not running ideally, honestly, given my system and given how it looks. But it definitely wasn't going this slow. I'm getting like 15 to 20 frames a second. But I was getting more than that when I wasn't recording. Anyway, so what's this game like? Well, first of all, you're probably going to notice an instant... Grab this. I accidentally threw that down. You're going to notice a resemblance to Terraria and more recently Starbound. Oop, let me kill this flying jellyfish. And you would be correct to make that initial comparison. Whoa, oh, that's in the background. I didn't see him. I'm going to kill a few of these guys just because I need some of their goo. But yes, the initial comparisons are very apt. I'd say it's the same kind of principle. You start with nothing. You know how to build basic items. You pick up basic, you gather resources. In fact, we'll go get a tree real quick. Cut down a tree. You can also grab flowers. Oops, not with a sword though, oddly enough. One difference that they've made that I quite like is you have an auto slot. And instead of having to have slots for your pickaxe, a slot for your shovel, etc., you can just choose auto and it will automatically pick whatever you're highlighted. So when I highlight these flowers, it switches to the shovel. But then if I can find a tree... Oh, this boxes. I wonder where those came from. Hit those. Now, one interesting thing here is notice how there's some stuff that's in the foreground there. Well, it's going to let me... Maybe I get to hit it with a sword. There we go. There's some things that are in the foreground. I'm trying to find an example here. Sorry it's so dark. Not to start off on a negative, but I will say one of my big things about this game so far that's annoying is that it's so dark. But the game is called Darkout. Yes, I understand. I also understand the darkness ties into the story itself, importantly. But I will say, personally, not being able to see in a game drives me up the wall. It would be like if a facet of a game was, it's supposed to have the sound of nails on a chalkboard the entire time. That's the way being in the dark all the time feels to me. Let's go ahead and kill this guy with a sword. We also have a bow and arrow, but I also just recently realized that I'm very low on arrows. And you will actually get higher tech guns and whatnot. I just can't make ammo yet. So anyway, notice how there is this... Let's get a torch out. There is this dirt in the background. I guess it's the background. Yes, not the foreground. The background, I can actually switch to the auto and hold shift and dig up stuff in the background. Which so far has been pretty interesting. It's not made like a huge difference, but... So anyway, again, you find a tree. Again, I've got auto selected. I chop the tree a few times, and wood drops. Now, I am kind of making the assumption here, probably shouldn't be, that most people watching this have probably played Minecraft, Terraria. It's that some type of game. I probably shouldn't make that assumption, because you know what happens when you assume. You make winners out of everyone involved. I think that's how that goes. But if you're not familiar with those types of games, the idea is that you basically start with nothing or next to nothing. Except maybe a few basic tools like an axe and a shovel. And you go out, you cut trees down, you get dirt, you get stone, you get resources, you find random chests. In this case, here. Oh, get this sorted out. Oh. And you kill deadly creatures. And you gather resources, then you can craft new things. You craft walls, you craft doors, you build a shelter to keep you safe from all these very scary creatures roaming around in the night. And then as you get your very basic needs met, like, well, your safety and having a house, and depending on the game, food and water, then you can start building up, you know, digging into the ground, finding harder to find resources, and making better and better items. So this is the outside. I don't spend much time outside because honestly I haven't really found a lot of need to. I think later on you can go, you know, higher up in the atmosphere and maybe find different things, but so far I haven't found a lot of need to come outside, except for obviously I need... Ouch, wow, that was a very loud, strange noise. As you can see, the animations aren't all that hot, but it's alright, it's passable. I will say graphically though, this looks far better than Terraria, Minecraft, or what's the new one, Starbound. And I have not played Starbound yet. I've just seen a few videos here and there, and I've seen screenshots. And graphically, this obviously blows those out of the water. So we got my little latch here. Again, you can make more advanced stuff. You start off with just making walls and ceilings to keep out the bad guys. And I've got a door here so I can shut that so enemies can't get in. Now, theoretically, like I started off with just wooden walls and I made some stone. I made some stone walls. If you look in the background, I actually made some stone walls with a little glass window. I don't know what he could be looking out there, but I did it anyway. You can also make like metal doors, but I don't see why, at least not yet, because I've never had enemies actually trying to break my doors open. One thing that I do not like, and I have had this problem ever since, like even Minecraft, was enemies will spawn in your house sometimes. Even though you have everything blocked off, enemies will just suddenly spawn. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's like Minecraft where you have to have light everywhere, and if there's a section of darkness, enemies can spawn there. But I've had this area up top pretty bright and still had enemies spawn. So anyway, what am I doing in my house here? My little makeshift hovel, I guess. We have a furnace here. We need to use that to do things like smelting. We have our, I forget what this is called. It's like a craftometer or something like that, that creates some of the more complicated recipes. And we have a workbench here, which helps you create even more complicated items. And from what I can tell, you need more and more objects. You want your house to get bigger and bigger. And I've seen videos of people's houses, or fortresses in some cases, and they look pretty badass. Unfortunately, I've started with a place that's way too small, and I need to work on making it a little bit larger. I should be building up, not building down. So power is an issue here. Electricity is an issue. As you can see, this crafting machine also generates a little bit of power. And you can get these sockets, which you can just put the wires into the sockets and get power to different machines. Like this workbench requires power to work. And that actually helped me build this, which is a generator, which I've actually not used. I actually just made it today. And just to kind of show you how that works, because I think the power electricity thing is going to be important. Now, what's the story of this as I kind of get this set up? The story is you're on this planet that humans originally just tried to get away from. Apparently something really bad happened, and you have somehow crash landed back on the planet, and now you just have to fight to survive for as long as you can. Hopefully, you know, until you die a nice natural death. So we're actually out of electrical cables, which brings us to the crafting system. Now the crafting system is broken up. This is not, again, and I'm going to be making a lot of Minecraft references. One, because I've played Minecraft a decent amount. And even though graphically it's a lot more like Terraria, I haven't played a lot of Terraria. Because frankly, I don't normally like this view. If I'm going to play a game like Minecraft, I'd rather see it in first person. It's much, much more immersive, and your options are much more open. So I haven't played a lot of Terraria, so I will be making more references to Minecraft than Terraria, and I haven't played Starbound at all. So please bear with me when I do. If you've played any of these games, it should make sense to you. And again, I will try to make it explain it well enough that even if you haven't, you'll understand how this works. So I need to make electrical cables. Well, I can under my components, I found electrical cables. Now this is a little tricky. I want to make a few. Let's say I want to make 8. Every time I make a single production run of electrical cables, it makes 4, as you can see here. Now the problem here is, well, we'll do this first. If you left click or if you highlight the mouse over the cables, you'll see what you need. I need rubber and I need a copper bar. And I can't move the mouse over, but if you look on the combinator row where it shows the rubber and it shows the copper, you can see they're both white ones. That means I have that item. So I can go ahead and make, if it's red, that means I'm missing that item, or I just don't have enough. So let's make 8. Now this gets tricky because it's very, very sensitive. So I can just barely move it. And supposedly you can put in how many you want to make. I haven't figured that out yet. I don't know where you actually type in a number of how many you want to make. So let's try to make 8. Again, you can see if I just barely touch it, it shoots up. Like this is 300. Surely we could go even 150 would be fine. We don't need to go that high just to make, so this isn't an issue, or make it more apparent how I can just put a number in. So we click that, and since this is a simple item, you create it automatically, and I don't need to be close to the combinator. This is the combinator down here. More complicated items, you do need to be standing close to the combinator or the workbench, and more complicated items will take longer to create. So we got our electrical cables. Let's check in our inventory, and I'll show you how to use items. What is this? This is scrap metal. I don't even know where I got this scrap metal from. Oh, I bet when we were just out, maybe? I don't know. You start off with pretty much nothing on a broken escape pod. It's got a few materials, and then you can break it apart for scrap metal, which you can use for other things. So let's actually drag the electrical cables below. Now here's how this UI works. It's actually pretty, I think I found it's worked pretty good so far. You have the top, you have a number on your hotbar or your action bar. You have a top item and you have a bottom item. The bottom item is if you left click. So if it's really not a good example. Let's put the sword here where the scrap metal is. Now if I left click, I swing the sword. But if I right click, I start trying to use the electrical cable. So we're going to hook the cable up to the power outlet. And now if we have any further items that we need to use, I'm assuming what we do is probably just drag the cord wherever we need to go. Now we're not going to need to do that just yet, but I'm assuming wiring is going to be an important facet in the game later on. So how do you find these recipes? Because you can't, it's not like, again, it's not like Minecraft or maybe even Terraria where you can just, if you have the right materials, you hit combine and it works. You have to research a lot of these. Some of these you start with, but most of them I had to research. Research is interesting. Research requires materials and it requires a X number of research points. You get research points by doing various things, harvesting, killing enemies, whatever. Usually I have far more research points than I actually need. For example, to make these leather leggings, or even this, to make an elevator, I need 200 research points. But right now I've got almost 7,000 research points. So I haven't really run into a case where I'm like, oh, I need more research points, because you get them so often. It's not really necessary. Maybe it's a factor later on, but for me, it's not been an issue so far. So I am starting to get to where I can start making a lot more interesting things, like an elevator, because one of the big premises of games like this is you tend to dig deep into the earth, and it can take a long time going up and back. So if you have an elevator, that makes that process much quicker and frankly safer. Yes, I have died trying to go back down several times. Let's go ahead and put our sword back into this slot. Now monsters do become more deadly and numerous once nighttime hits, and you can actually see the time at the bottom here right above the action bar. But usually the monsters haven't been a big issue until I get deep underground. But anyway, back to the research. Let me get back up here so I know I'm not going to be attacked by anything. So you can see we've got all kinds of things we can research. Iron door, power socket, chem labs, elevator, etc, etc. One thing that I'm not crazy about on the research is a lot of times things won't show up until you have a certain material. So for example, iron doors, for just again as an example, won't show up until I found iron deposits, right? So a lot of times there can be important recipes that like, oh, I really want this item, but you have no idea how to make it, and then you find like that one item that you need to make it, and it's like, oh well, that's how I should have been looking for this all along. Great case in point here was vines. Early on I needed to find vines, and there is like a little hint system here where I can click for a hint and it'll tell me what I need, which they keep saying no hints for now, but it kept saying vines. And I was like, well, how do I get vines? What are vines? I've never seen vines. So I started looking around, and all of a sudden I noticed, oh hey, look at this. Oh, as I fall to my untimely death. It's probably going to happen since I'm recording that I'm going to fall to my death. I really, this area here, I admittedly was just basically cutting away at random. And this was before I realized you can make these little steps, these wooden steps. You will need a lot of wood to make a lot of steps once you start mining, as you might imagine. All right, we are just going to, for the time being, put the steps all the way across. So I saw these vines. I'm like, oh, okay, sweet. So I went to try to get them. So I hold shift because, again, shift and mining will try to get the stuff that's in the background. But I could not get them. And finally, I had to read on the Wikipedia, which there is a Wikipedia which you probably will want to keep open for tips on what to do. It said you actually have to mine above the vines, and then the vines will fall. See. So yeah, little things like that can be trip you up. But again, there is a Wikipedia which has been very, very helpful up to me this point. Sometimes I do feel like I'm kind of lost, like I don't know what to do next, so I just end up digging. So, and that could just be me, but we have a chem lab here that we can make. This seems like the next thing we want to do. So in fact, let's research this. We need 2 iron bars, 2 pieces of glass, and 2 electrical table. That's pretty cheap. So let's research it. And research usually takes a while. Not crazy long, maybe 5 minutes tops, at least my experience has been. But while it's doing that, let's go explore. We're going to go down to where I have been. Let's kill this dog thing first. Now, these creatures are interesting in that supposedly while they're... I'm just going to leave him. Supposedly while they're in the dark, they have kind of a shield on them. Oh god. That's bad. Let's kill this thing first. We're low on health, as you can see. But we have... Down here we have like a stim pack. We're going to heal up. Kill these stupid spiders. But you have to get through their shields to do damage. And light does a good job of that. Light will break through their shield so that you can do damage. But honestly, for the most part so far, I've just stabbed stuff to death and they fall over. You can see stuff shimmering over here. I'm waiting for it to do it again. And you can hover your mouse over what was shimmering, not shivering. See what it is. There's coal over there. I don't really need coal right now, but it's good to know in case I want to come back. But again, I just want to kind of show you just how deep you can go. Now this is, again, going to be normal for folks who've played Terraria and Minecraft to go this low. But those of you who have not played this might think, holy cow, like this is super deep. And it is pretty deep, but I feel like I'm still got a long ways to go. Yep. And luckily with these steps, you can just push down and you automatically jump down. But you can see where having an elevator would be much, much more useful here. And we're not even to my first landing yet. Okay, that's what I consider my first landing, where I kind of move over. And now I'll go right back to drop, drop, drop. Let's get our torch out so it's a little bit easier to see. A lot of times the steps are very difficult to see against the background. Don't really know how to make that better, but that's just kind of the way it is. So yeah, this is down, you know, again, I think relatively deep, but I couldn't say for sure. So you want to make steps while you're down here. So let's open the crafting menu with C. Where's the wooden platforms? I call them steps all the time. Let's make a bunch. 50? Can we make 50? Okay, good. If you can't make 50, it'll make as many as you can. And it'll give you an error message at the bottom left and tell you how many it actually made. So the mining down process can be a little tedious, but that's kind of the standard for games like this. It's never really super exciting. One thing, again, that drives me nuts is the light. And you'll see here shortly, it doesn't take long at all for me to not be able to see anything that's going on. And again, personally, that drives me crazy. I hate not being able to see. So I have a ton of torches, you probably saw on the way down, stuck everywhere just so that I can see what the hell's going on. So I'm going to stick another one on the wall. Oop, and I've got to remember to put steps as well. It's pretty generous about how far away it lets you put steps, like away from your person. But yeah, this is what I've mostly been doing. I don't know if this is what you're supposed to be doing at this point. Notice too that when you highlight areas, it highlights 3 squares at a time. I like that. It's just much faster. You can also hit M to change it to just 1 at a time. So if you want one specific block, you can do that. Okay. We won't mine a whole lot here, but I just want to show you roughly what to expect with this game. And again, it feels like I'm only just scratching the surface. Watching videos, I see them fighting all kinds. Oh god. Alright, so we got to be careful here, because it looks like we could drop through the floor. So let's actually put a step there. I'm going to put a torch out. Let's see what kind of metal is this. Oh, that's stone. Copper, not bad. I'm trying to find more. Iron is good. 10, I'm actually cannot find 10. Iron is good. Not going to bother going to get it right just a second, but normally I would, because iron is pretty useful, at least for me right now. So as you can see, got to be careful here. Definitely don't want to knock off our own step. Alright, this is dirt. We will... I don't know why it's not letting me mine that. That's strange. Let's put another platform. Can we put one below? Yeah, let's put another one out here. Because I have fallen to my death. Why is it not? No, not that. Oh, it did it anyway. Nope, jump on down. There we go. See, again, it's kind of hard to see that. I don't know why it's not letting me grab that, but let's... Alright, this is a little scary. It's a touch scary. Now, I've seen in videos where they've actually got like a flashlight. I would really love a flashlight at any point in time. That would be great. I don't like the semi-battle-y type of music that's going down right now. Just dropping steps and moving down slowly, a little bit at a time. We'll probably have to make more steps when we come back, because I don't think those are not quite high enough for us to jump onto. There's also teleporters of some kinds. You know what? Yeah, the torch doesn't give a lot of light. Kind of sucks. The other thing that drives me insane is that to do anything, you had to put the torch away. So even if you had them on the same number slot, I would have to... So this is just water. I definitely don't really want to dig around in the water. I can get a bucket though. Bucket. In buckets you can put tar and water. Can I... Alright. Getting a few buckets of water. In fact, let's see if that opens up any research avenues for us. Probably not, but plastic. It's glass jar and tar. Magnesium. We need scrap metal for that. Silicone. That doesn't sound good. Oh, that's just a little flying thing in front of my face. Doesn't look like there's an easy way to get down there. Ooh, there's a chest though. Alright. Let's put a torch here. We're running low on torches. In fact, we just ran out. We went a step beyond running out. And I can't make glow torches yet. Actually, I can make glow torches now that I have a workbench. They give off a little bit more light. Not a whole lot, though. Alright, let's... I always make a lot of torches. No matter the game like this, I always make tons of torches. Because, again, I really hate being in the dark. Where did it put those torches? I've noticed a really bad habit it has of... I'll just make more. We're just demonstrating here. It has a really bad habit when I try to drag things. Sometimes it'll just drop them, like onto the ground. I don't quite understand why it does that. Why did I do that? Let's put that under 3. Okay. So we are going to... See what I mean? Having to constantly switch to the torch. Like, just leave the torch out. For God's sakes, please. Let me just leave the torch out. I don't know why it has to put it away constantly. And I can't put torches... There's certain places I can't put torches. Like, I can't put them on these steps. So I had to constantly take it out, make sure I'm not missing any. It's honestly just very, very tedious having to switch back and forth. Alright, let's... What did we get? Put our torch back out. We got a old broken beacon. You also get these things, these unidentified data modules. Let's right click it and let's try to decode it. What's this say? A story log. Data storage container contains a... Oh god. Stab this guy till he's... Stab him till he's dead.
Second interfering. Signal beacon located. Wave signal deactivated. Audio log playback.
It's beautiful here.
Hopefully you can hear that.
Not a lot of people would think so, but I've had long enough to realize the truth behind the darkness. It was our fault, and we are paying the price for trying to make Illuna our own.
Okay, that's a little bit of story bits. If you want to see more, then I guess you'll just have to pick it up. So yeah, you do. They did give you a quest. I meant to show that. They did give me a quest to. Where is that? Current activity log. All right, just pause. So yeah, you do pick up story logs, which is pretty interesting. That they do have that in here. As there's achievements, blueprints. We haven't found any blueprints yet. That's why I say it feels like I'm only scratching the surface of this game. It feels like there's a hell of a lot more to it. Ah, son of a bitch. Come on. And the sound just got really quiet, I think. Because I think sometimes with the logs, like, the sound might get a little funky. We'll just leave it open for now. And we're actually going to head back up.
Audio log playback.
It's beautiful here.
Because I'm probably going to die down here.
Not a lot of people would think so, but...
And I just wanted to kind of wrap this up. Again, this is... I think it gives you guys a rough idea what this is like. Now, as far as this game versus Starbound, because that's one of the first things people will say, why should I play Starbound over this? Or why should I play Darkout over Starbound, or vice versa? Honestly, I can't tell you definitively one way or the other. I haven't seen, and sorry that she's talking over me in the background, but I haven't seen enough of either one to definitively say, yes, you should play this over that. And I've seen discussions about that, people talking about this, because there's a lot to compare. They're very Terraria-like. They've got the 2D look. They seem survival-based. It's the same premise of find materials, craft items, survive, and then thrive. So in that case, they're very similar. However, I think one big thing in Starbound is you have a bunch of different planets that you can end up going to. And I do see the crate down there. I didn't miss that. But it seems like there's a lot of different planets that you can go to. With this planet, it's just kind of one. But I think you have a lot of different biomes here. I've only found the forest biome because I haven't explored a lot upstairs. Because it feels like I'm behind. Like I feel like I really need a flashlight. Horribly. And the thing is, when I saw other people playing this game, or I saw the trailers rather, like they were shooting a gun, which, I mean, I've got a gun, but no, I can't make bullets. And two, they were actually having their flashlight out while they were fighting, which is a pretty big deal. being able to actually see what you're shooting. Especially since these enemies have a shielding, which you need theoretically need the light to kind of get through. See, again, enemies just kind of popped up in my house. But if I'm sitting here just watching, that usually won't happen. And he's... I'm not trying to plant the torch, I'm trying to open the door. Alright, so it's not... I might be trapped because he's on my trap door. And it won't let me... There he goes. Let's see, it's not letting me open it because he's standing on it like a jerk. Let's kill this. Sound effects could use a little work, a little bit too much. Shake, 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 shake. It's like, okay, we get it. Just a little more subtle on the shing, shing, shing. So did it actually craft... what did we craft? I forget what we... A dynamo. Those are items you need for crafting and researching other various things. I forgot what I was researching before. A research log would be good so that I know what I've researched, because I'm not even sure what it was exactly that I've made. But yeah, even look at this. I mean, I can make an elevator to make getting down into the depths much easier. I've got a bunch of like metal versions of things that I already have, like doors. I have sulfuric acid, which is water and sulfur. What's not to love about that? Maybe you need to... Oh, I don't have sulfur. Okay. So anyway, yeah, there's a lot to this game, I think. And again, I feel like I've put probably 6-ish hours in, maybe more. And it feels like, again, I'm just now starting. I feel like the big things I don't like about this game right now is the darkness. And again, I understand the entire game's kind of built around that, but it doesn't make it any less annoying to me. And I desperately want a light source that I don't constantly have to put away anytime that I want to build an item or attack an enemy or do basically anything else other than actually be able to see. So, and again, the beginning felt a little rough to me. The beginning felt really rough. It felt like I just didn't know what to do at all. Like it felt like I'd kind of hit a dead end on my research, and I couldn't build anything useful. I didn't know about making... It didn't help also that I didn't know about making these wooden shelves. I didn't know that you could use those as like a form of ladder. So that caused some issues. And that's part of the reason why I built all over like random tunnels everywhere. Because I didn't know about these shelves, which makes it much easier to just delve straight down and to jump back up on them. And the vines thing could have been explained a bit better, because it's like the one resource, you don't grab it directly, you have to cut them off from the top. So other than that, the beginning I think could use a little help, a little bit more like kind of getting you pointed in the right direction. However, you know, these games a lot of these games are about discovery and kind of figuring out how the world works, and you know, figuring out what resources you want to get, and finding out what things you can research. So I understand it's a very delicate balance between getting you started and telling you how to get going versus kind of ruining the discovery portions of the game. So it's a delicate balance, I think. It also is important to mention you can get items, like I've made armor and headpiece. I can't make the boots because I just absolutely cannot find tin anywhere. I don't know what it is, but yeah, tin is very, very difficult to find for me. I think that's what's needed, right? You have tons of categories of things to make, which is cool. You can't sit down on the chairs though. That seems madness to me. I want to sit in my chair. I want to sit in my chair. It's like, otherwise, what's the point of having a chair if you can't sit down, right? It seems crazy to me. But again, you get the bed. You can sleep in the bed. It regenerates hit points. It also acts as a spawn point, I think. And I'm most interested in seeing some of the more high-tech stuff. Like I think there's a teleporter that you can get. Obviously, you can build closets and other things to keep your items in. But anyway, at this point, I'm rambling. The important thing to note here is, again, I've only scratched the surface here. I know I keep using that expression. That's my expression for the day, apparently. But I've only scratched the surface. There's a lot more there, I feel like, to explore. I feel like I'm kind of in caveman eras. I'm fighting enemies with swords and bow and arrow. In the videos I've seen, the guys wearing, you know, sweet armor and it's got this flashlight and he's using a blaster. So I think it'd be interesting to see, or to play that out. But I wanted to at least give you guys a good idea of how this works. So definitely check out Darkout again. It is on Steam and Sora. It's $14.99 right now. It is Windows, and again, right now it's only single player. I know this type of games, for a lot of people, the multiplayer is where it's at. They said they are working on that, and that is going to be their focus the beginning of next year. So make sure to look that up. As always, thank you guys for watching. If you'd like to see more videos like this where I cover newer games that you might not have heard of, make sure to subscribe. Leave your comments. Let me know what you're thinking. If you've played this yourself, and especially if you've played both this and Starbound, I'd like to get some good feedback. What would you compare? What are the heights of this game? What are the lows? What are the highs of Starbound? What are the lows of that? And you know, which one would you suggest? I'm thinking it's going to be a scenario where if you like one type of play, maybe Starbound will be better. If you like another type, then Darkout might be better. So anyway, again, yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.